Hey there, lovely people. Van Daven here. And what I want to talk about today, the topic of today, is the Bogner amp inside the FM3. The guitar today is a Ormsby Hype Dragon Scale. I never liked the bridge pickup. So the bridge pickup you're hearing is actually a Gorilla pickup that Diego in Italy, in Rome, Italy, custom made for me to go into this guitar. I just love that Gorilla pickup. It just gives the guitar a different quality. Like if you listen to that, that's the neck pickup. And that's the bridge pickup. From the manufacturing itself, how it's made, it's superb. Like fretwork, amazing, neck, amazing, body, amazing, and I totally like the color. So let's take a look at FM3 Edit, what we have here. Just to tell you, I came up with those sounds that I'm going to show you today because I'm such a massive fan of the Swedish prog band Evergrey, The Atlantic, and the latest album. So I went like, hey, I really want to have something that sounds as stringy and percussive as the sound of Mr. Dane Hagen, who plays guitar there. So whatever you're hearing today is based on the Euro Uber model, which is Fractal's take on the Bogner Überschall head. There's one thing I need to tell you, and it's good to have that information. Before we start, let's take a look at the setup. As you can see, there's this input pad setting. The more input pad you give, which means theoretically you're reducing the input, the more dynamic the guitar sounds gets. And I took a look at it in the analyzer, just taking the direct input signal, and it seems that it's limiting the sound. So if we're at 0 dB setting, it's limiting the guitar sound at 18 dB, which gives a bit more harmonic structure, I dare say, because of the limiting, but also less attack. So please listen to that. Very rounded up, I go back to 18 dB. And back again. I found out that the different pad settings actually give you a different limiting of the guitar sound, which makes it really, really thick and warm. But also reduces the attack. In other words, the less pad you use, the more the guitar gets rounded up and the less attack you have and the more, let's say, mushy or round the sound will become. I personally like to have the full dynamics, and it seems that only the 18 dB setting is giving me those. So, well, it's up to you, and it might work for some cases. Doesn't work for me with that sound. As you can see, I have a drive block ahead of the amp because without the drive block, the amp seems to have a lot of bass and sounds pretty mushy and undefined. Very wobbly. And with the drive, which is a tube drive, 3-knob in my case, tone at 6.6 and drive at 0.45, it gets really stringing, very, very attacky. Of course, you could also go to the amp and then to the ideal setting and engage the low cut, which might also take you there. Or of course, you can use an input boost like a grinder. And that, of course, enhances the mid-range and cuts the bass. But for me personally, the grinder is just a little bit too much, so I'm using that drive. What else do we have? Well, you can see the settings here, treble, presence, all there. The amp is running on EL34 power amp tubes, so setting the master volume just a bit past high noon gives me a bit of that power amp distortion, and that is exactly what I'm looking for. When I reduce the master volume and of course push the level a bit, I'm losing a bit in that high mid distortion that just makes the amp sparkle and the strings really bite. The other settings that I'm using are a 4x12 basket weave speaker impedance curve, and I'm also using some speaker drive just because I think that the sound is really benefiting from that slight speaker breakup. It just makes it sound a little bit more organic. I like that speaker breakup again in comparison. Jumping on to the cap block for that sound, I'm using a Zilla cap 2x12 with a mix of V30 and M25 speakers, and that's all part of the Ownhammer Heavy Hitters 2 package and sounds like that. As an alternative speaker from the same package, I have a mix of an Eddie Van Halen and the Zilla V30. Just depending on my mood, honestly. Both sound great. And then I have a little bit of reverb, medium room with a 0.90 setting and just a 10% mix. Of course, the universal audio technology is also helping that sound, and this time it's a Helios Type 69 EQ preamp. As you can see, I'm dipping a little bit at 700 Hertz. I'm just reducing the high end a little bit, and I'm also dipping the bass a little bit. And UNISON technology is the prime reason why I'm using universal audio products, simply because it just gives another dimension of analog warmth and a little bit of compression. Listen for yourself. It just helps me to get easier to that sought after analog tone that I'm looking for. If I would be playing live, I would, by the way, always cut the cab. I mean, I can do it now in the DAW, but if I would be playing live, I would go to something like that. Well, so much about the Bogner Überschall model on the Fractal Audio FM3. That is how I use it. That is how I enjoy it. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. And don't forget to have the best day ever.